I've always hated hospitals. The smell of antiseptic, the fluorescent lights, the way everything feels too clean, too bright, too exposed. I avoided them for most of my life unless absolutely necessary. I thought that made me strong, independent, a man who could handle things on his own. I grew up watching my father grit his teeth through every illness and keep working anyway. He was the kind of man who never flinched, never complained, who believed that real men die on their feet, not in waiting rooms. I admired him. I copied him. And now, lying here in this bed with monitors beeping beside me and tubes running into my arm, I realize I inherited something from him, not his strength, but his stubbornness. The kind of stubbornness that kills. The first sign was so small I convinced myself it didn't matter. A streak of blood on the toilet paper. Just a thin line. Bright red. I stared at it for a moment, then looked away. Told myself it was hemorrhoids. Everyone my age gets hemorrhoids, right? I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel anything except mild embarrassment. And embarrassment is a powerful silencer. I threw the toilet paper away and walked out of the bathroom like nothing had happened. Weeks passed. Then months. The bleeding came back not every day, but often enough that I should have known something was wrong. But every time it happened, I used the same excuse. Hemorrhoids, straining, something I ate, stress, sitting too long, anything except the truth forming quietly inside me. I didn't even tell my wife, Margaret. We told each other everything for 52 years, but not this. I didn't want her to worry. I told myself I was protecting her, but really I was protecting my pride. My doctor started mentioning colonoscopies around the time I turned 70. Just a routine screening, he'd say. You're overdue. I'd nod, promise to schedule it, then walk out and forget on purpose. The thought of the procedure of prepping, of going in, of being examined in such an intimate, vulnerable way made me uncomfortable. That discomfort, that tiny bit of embarrassment outweighed common sense. I avoided it for years. I avoided the one test that could have saved my life. The fatigue started almost a year before the diagnosis. Deep, bone-heavy fatigue that didn't lift with rest. I'd mow half the lawn and need to sit down. I'd walk up the stairs and feel my heart pounding harder than it should. Margaret noticed, of course. She always noticed. You're slowing down, she said, worry softening her voice. Maybe you should get checked out. I told her I was just getting old. I joked about needing more coffee. She laughed, but her eyes didn't. Then came the weight loss. At first I thought it was a good thing. My appetite was smaller, so I ate less. I told myself it was normal, healthy even. Margaret didn't buy it. You're shrinking, she said one evening as she held one of my belts. This used to fit you perfectly. I told her she was imagining things. But she wasn't. I was disappearing 1 pound at a time and pretending not to notice. The pain came next. A dull ache deep in my abdomen, sometimes sharp, sometimes twisting, sometimes like something heavy was pressing from the inside. I ignored that too. Took antacids, took painkillers, told myself it was indigestion, told myself it was gas, told myself it was nothing. Nothing became the most dangerous word in my vocabulary. The day everything collapsed started like any other. I woke up nauseous, dizzy, weak. Margaret insisted on taking me to urgent care. I refused. We argued. I snapped at her. She cried. I tried to apologize, but I didn't have the strength to follow her into the other room. Hours later, when I stood up to use the bathroom, the world spun violently. My legs gave out. I hit the floor hard. Margaret screamed my name as everything went black. At the hospital, they ran tests, blood work scans, too many questions I wasn't ready to answer. A doctor came in with a grave expression and asked if I had noticed bleeding. I hesitated. Margaret looked at me with confusion. I swallowed hard and said yes. She stared at me like she'd never seen me before. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. I didn't have an answer that made sense. I mumbled something about embarrassment, not wanting to worry her. She shook her head slowly, tears filling her eyes. "I'm your wife," she said. "You can tell me anything." But I didn't. Not when it mattered. The diagnosis came fast, like someone ripping the floor out from under me. Colon cancer. Advanced. Spread to lymph nodes. Possibly liver. Treatable, but not curable. The doctor explained it with calm professionalism, but his voice blurred after the word advanced. I felt Margaret's hand gripping mine tighter and tighter. I stared at the wall behind the doctor, unable to process the idea that this was happening to me, to us. I asked the doctor quietly if I had done the colonoscopy years ago. Would it have changed things? He nodded. Not dramatically, not cruelly, just truthfully. Yes, very likely. That broke me. A test I avoided because of embarrassment could have saved my life. A tiny streak of blood I ignored could have given us more years. I felt like I had betrayed myself, betrayed Margaret, betrayed the future we thought we still had. Treatment began chemotherapy, radiation-targeted drugs. The side effects hit hard, nausea that lasted all day, weakness so deep I couldn't stand, hair falling out in the shower, a metallic taste in my mouth that ruined every meal. Margaret was there through it all. She held my hand when I shook. She wiped my forehead when I vomited. She whispered, "I love you," even when I felt like a shell of myself. One night after a particularly brutal chemo session, I apologized to her. Really apologized. Told her everything, every moment I ignored the bleeding, every excuse I made, every opportunity I had to tell her and didn't. She cried not out of anger, but out of pain. "I wish you had trusted me," she said softly. "I wish you had let me help you sooner." I told her I was scared. She nodded. "You don't have to be scared alone. But cancer doesn't give second chances. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care that I finally woke up to the truth. Damage done is damage done. The treatment slowed it, but they didn't stop it. Over time, the pain grew. The fatigue deepened. The world narrowed to hospital rooms and whispered conversations. Margaret tried to stay strong, but I could see the fear in her eyes each time my breath hitched or my hand trembled. Now, lying here again after the latest complications, I hear the doctors talk outside the door. Words like progression, decline, pain management, comfort, care. Words that mean time is shorter than I want to admit. Words that mean the life I built through decades of work and love is slipping through my fingers faster than I can hold on. I think about the years I could have had, the mornings with Margaret, the holidays with my grandchildren, the walks I used to take, the way the sun felt on my arms during late spring. I traded all of that for the false comfort of pretending nothing was wrong. If someone were listening, someone out there ignoring bleeding, avoiding screenings, making excuses, I'd tell them this colon cancer doesn't start loud. It starts quiet. It starts small. It starts with a streak of red you convince yourself means nothing. It starts with denial, and denial becomes disease. Disease becomes regret. Regret becomes the last chapter of your story. Don't let embarrassment kill you. Don't let fear stop you from getting checked. Don't let pride take years from your family. Don't look at blood and look away. Don't wait until pain becomes unbearable. Don't tell yourself I'm fine when your body is screaming otherwise. If I could go back, I'd make the appointment the same day my doctor suggested it. I'd tell Margaret about the first drop of blood. I'd listen to the fear instead of drowning it. I'd sit in that cold exam room with courage, not shame. I'd trade 1 hour of discomfort for decades of life. But I can't go back. I can only lie here now hoping someone else hears this in time and saves themselves before it's too late.